Welcome back to Your Average Investor. We're going to be talking about NVIDIA today, if it's a good time to buy right before earnings. NVIDIA reports earnings tomorrow after market close. Market just closed today. So if you want to enter an options position, you'll have to do it tomorrow during the day, or of course you can just buy stocks in the after hours. Now, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It does a lot to support us and help us get this channel monetized so that we can provide better content for y'all. We also have a $100 giveaway going on right now where anybody who subscribes to the channel and subscribes to our newsletter before Friday will get entered to win $100. If we get to 300 subscribers before Friday, instead of choosing just one winner, we're going to choose 3 winners to give out $100 to. We'll send it, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But back to NVIDIA. Let's take a look. Obviously, NVIDIA has been the talk of the town for the last couple years. It's kind of funny because prior to this massive rally, when NVIDIA was sitting around 120, all the talk on Reddit and everywhere else was it's a terrible company. It's going back to $40 a share, blah, 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 blah. And then ChatGPT came out, and then NVIDIA just cruised and has not looked back. Now, what's been the most surprising thing to me is that even though it's been, look at this rally from 123 to 500, right? 4x increase there. And even after several earnings reports, it's maintained its dominance now at almost $1,000 a share. Earnings is tomorrow. How do you play this thing? So obviously, if you go long, there's the nice risk of a push to all-time highs, and on all-time highs, a big move up. If I were looking to go long, what I would do is I would wait until earnings came out, and I would buy in the after hours. If I saw at earnings it pushed to above all-time high, I would have a buy order set for all-time high. This is not financial advice, by the way, guys. Do your own thing, take your own risk, whatever. But I would probably set a buy order for 974, and then I'd have a trailing stop of something like 1%. And that way, if NVIDIA continued to go up, I could capture that upside just on the hype of it being on an all-time high, hitting the algos. But if it dipped back down, I'd have a very quick trailing stop to get out of the trade. Now, the other way to play this, of course, is in the options market or trying to short it. Personally, I don't think I would short NVIDIA shares on earnings. What I might do is if they have a poor earnings report, like I wouldn't short before earnings. If they have a poor earnings report and it starts moving down, I may look to short, same thing with a very tight trailing stop, so that if the price starts moving back up, which it has a history of moving back up violently after dips, if you want to take a look here, we'll show you, right? Here's a dip, 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 violent move up, little dip, 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 big move up, little dip, move up, little dip, move up. So I would have a trailing stop set to make sure that I captured any gains or minimized my losses in that case. In the options market, it gets a little more interesting because you're going to have some contracts that you can play that are just a couple days to expiration. And these are the ones that I honestly think these are the only ones worth looking at. And if you're wrong, you should just count on your position going to zero, meaning your max risk is whatever it costs you to buy those contracts. And there's 2 ways you could play this. You could play it just by buying calls or puts, right? So if I wanted to play the downside, I could buy these put 950s. This is going to cost me $3,725 to buy one of these. Now what that means is in order to break even, NVIDIA has to be down at $912.75. So let's just put a little price line there. Oops. So that was what, $912.75. So we're going to move here. We're going to put a price line at $912.75. We're going to just, in fact, let's just go right here. That's about 912, a little bit under. We'll try to get it as close as we can, a little bit under. But there it is, right there at 912, right? Not a terrible place to get to break even, right? If NVIDIA slips up at all, there's a good chance they drop down into the 850 range, and that's actually the range that I think is most likely if they drop down. Based on right here, we've got a nice little volume-weighted average price that it could catch on. So if NVIDIA drops all the way down here, that might be tripling your money on this option play right here, right? But it does cost $3,700 to get in. So the other thing you could do is you could do it like this, where you buy this and then you sell. So you buy the 950, you sell the 945. This is going to cost you about $250. significantly less capital, obviously. It's also going to limit your upside potential to be just a $250 profit. So think about it like this: you're doubling your profit if this hits. Now, while you may have limited your upside, like what's the chance that you get more than double your profit on just a single call by itself if it costs you $4,000, right? You'd have to see the stock drop pretty dang significantly for that to go more than double. If the break even's at 912, you'd have to have it drop another $40 all the way to 870 to double your money. We're talking about intrinsic value only, so like 870 you double your money, then around maybe 850 or 840 you triple your money. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, the risk reward is much, much more in favor of doing something like this, right? So even if I wanted to spend more money, I could just up this to say I want to buy 10 contracts. I'm going to spend $2,500. My max profit is $2,500. But the great thing is in order to break even, NVIDIA just has to drop to 947.5. That's just barely $5 below what it's at right now. Hardly anything. And same on the upside, right? If I thought NVIDIA was going to go up on earnings, I could do the same thing. I'd buy this for $4,000. And then to break even, NVIDIA would have to hit 994.3. That's break even right there. Or I could go like this. And oops, let me get both of those there. And this is going to cost me $240 with a max profit of $260. So about a little more than double my money there. And in order for this to hit break even, NVIDIA only has to be at 957.4. So these spreads are what I'm looking at. I think the spreads are the way to go if you want to play options. However, the penny puts and penny calls are also really interesting. So if you think NVIDIA is going to fly one way or the other, right? Like let's just say I thought this 850 was likely, or maybe even I thought this 750 was likely, right? What I would probably do in that case is I'd look at buying these 850s for about $500. And again, it's a pretty risky one to do just like that. So maybe what I would do is I'd couple it like this. This is going to cost me $60. My max profit here is $440. So I'd 9x my money on that play. I get a 900% return if NVIDIA is trading below $845. Anything below $845, I get a 900% return there, and that's not too bad. And I could do that maybe a little higher too, right? Maybe I could choose the 900. I could buy the 900 and sell the 895. And in this case, I'm not going to get quite a 900% return. It's going to cost me $165, but I can have a max profit here of $335. So I get about a 200% return on that play right there. And that play maximizes its value if NVIDIA drops below 895. So here's 895 right here, right about here. So if NVIDIA drops below that, I'm going to make my max profit on that play. I really like that play. In fact, that might be the favorite one that I've seen so far. And if I were to play the upside, I would probably play it the same way, where I'd look for something a little bit out of the money, maybe these call 1000s, and then I would sell the 1005s. That's going to cost me $155, and I have a max profit there of $345. So I'm not confident one way or the other in NVIDIA. And for that reason, I'm probably not going to play it. I'm not going to play it long or short. I'd rather wait to see what happens after earnings and then play the follow through. So if it moves up, I'd play the follow through to the upside with just shares, not options, and a very tight trailing stop. And if it goes down, I would short with a very tight trailing stop to get stopped out very quickly if the price moves back up in the opposite direction, and I'd leave the options alone. That being said, there are some interesting spreads to be had. I'd love to know what you guys think about NVIDIA. Do you think we're going to all-time highs tomorrow? Do you think we're going to be coming back down to maybe this range in the 750s like what happened over this last dip? Or do you think NVIDIA's totally crazy and we're going to see it drop all the way back down to the 500, 400 range? Let me know in the comments below. We'll catch you next time.